Say good morning to all the brothers and sisters out there in social media land. This is the day the Most High have made. We should find a way to rejoice and be glad in it. What a beautiful day it is. Everything in this earth still operating, still functioning like it's supposed to. A continuous exemplification of what it means to be obedient to the will of the Father. So we up this morning, and we glad to be up. Shoot, taking advantage of this day. It's amazing how the Most High create the day and then breathe consciousness back into a lifeless body and then drop you right in the day that's already made. Bam! Everything already prepared. Before your eyes even open. Everything already prepared. Sun's coming up. Air is functioning. The flowers are about to start blooming. We had that good rain. Things starting to grow. Man, I can't stress that enough. I can't stress it enough. And I was thinking about when I was in junior high school. This is a memory that I ain't never gonna forget. We had a brother named Larry Crenshaw. I see Larry Crenshaw every now and then. And we was in middle school. And that Larry Crenshaw, man, I was fascinated because I hated social studies. Because I felt like, man, this ain't got nothing to do. This ain't got nothing to do with no living. What am I gonna gain by learning this stuff? But anyway, Larry Crenshaw, we was on the studying part of knowing which was the capital of all of the states. Man, I didn't know none of them. That Larry Crenshaw, boy, he knew the capital to every single state, boy. But you know what? I just often wonder sometimes how that information have impacted people's life. You see, when we came up through school, we learned so many things through social studies and world history and science and all of these other things. Now, you had some things that was good. I always thought that the greatest classes in school for me were math, PE, and art. Because those are the only classes that had a direct impact on the life that I was living, or on the life that a lot of people was living. Because you needed to know math, you know what I mean? You needed to know math. You needed to be able to count, you know what I mean? So I was serious about math because I was a crap shooter at an early age. I think I learned how to shoot craps when I was probably about 8. When I learned how to shoot craps. And you had to be able to count if you was gonna shoot craps, because sometimes the money you was gonna shoot with, they didn't always have. If you was gonna shoot $5, the person didn't always put $5 down. Sometimes they might run out of fives and then had to put a 20 down or a 50 down. And then when you had to place bets, you know what I mean? You bet over here. This dude over here might have a 20. This dude over here might have a 50. This dude over here might have 100. And when you win a bet, you got to be able to give them people change for whatever bets it is that you've been placing. And so, you know, anybody that ever shot craps, they know when you shooting craps, you know what? As long as you rolling the dice, you can keep betting. You know what I mean? So you might end up being $25 in somebody's 100, $30 in somebody's 50, but whatever the point I'm making is that math became very important. And then art also was very important because art helped you to exercise your imagination. You know what I mean? It taught you how to visualize things in your mind. And we definitely needed PE because we understood that the body needed to be exercised, needed to be stretched, needed to be worked out. So, but I'm saying to myself, for the bulk of things that we learned when we was in school, they didn't have no direct impact on the life that we living now. That's why I said, you know what, I hated school. Because I couldn't understand how a particular people could set up a standard like this, when really the standard wasn't nothing but a blockade, you see? Because when we went to the, when you look at the European schools, what the European schools taught was far different. You know what I mean? It was far different. And this is going to be a lesson for some of our brothers and sisters whose children are in school now. You got to assume the responsibility for teaching your children. I was going to make sure that my children learned something grand. So from the time that they could read, and they would learn how to read and alphabets and everything at home, because I was going to teach them with their homework. But I used to make them read the scripture. Not only did they have to read so I could analyze their growth as far as their reading skills went, but they also had to be able to read and then understand what it was that they just read. And then we had a driving force that we put behind the younger children that were coming behind, because we would reward our kids when they could read and then they could understand what they read. And I might like, okay, I got $10 to the first one of you, whoever can read this right here, and then explain to me what it's saying. And that right there, it motivated the same thing, you know what I mean? So it's all good. We call them this early in the morning when I make a video. Never fail. I ain't answering that right now. Okay, so what am I saying? I am saying is that brothers and sisters gonna have to not only take it upon themselves to educate themselves. I'm also sharing this, is that you cannot live your life in books. You have to extract from the books the things that are going to be helpful for your living. And so I can give you some examples. Let's take the Bible, for instance. Okay, what's the purpose? What's the purpose other than a waste of time for people to be studying and dissecting the priest's garments? Or now, this is not aimed directly at anybody, because I ain't seen nobody, doing this for real, but I'm just using it for an example. What good is it, and what is the purpose is it for a brother to be studying something in this day and time about the priest's garments and the different stones that was on the garments, or whatever it is that they had to do? How does that impact a life that anybody's living right now? It don't, because you know what? There ain't no priesthood. So if it ain't no priesthood, what would be the whole purpose of wasting time? Because that thing right there ain't gonna impact the life of nobody. So when you start talking about things like, let's take what everybody gonna call the Passover coming up. Okay, we know that when the Passover came, it was a certain way that things had to be done, all right? The things had to be done. You had to have the right lamb, first of all. It had to be a perfect, no spot, no blemish. And then it had to go to the priest, and then the priest would have to slaughter the lamb or dissect the lamb in a specific way. Certain things were forbidden to eat that would be extracted from the lamb, and then other things would be given. Certain portions would be given to the priest, certain portions would be dedicated to the Most High, and certain portions would go to the people. But what would be the purpose of learning that information when the law of sacrifice have been abolished already? And then on top of that, how is something going to be abolished and yet we still bring it back again? That brings you to a place to where you hear what the so-called apostle, what I call our beloved brother, he said, you know what? Be not entangled. Stand there with the liberty, or with the freedom wherewith you have been made free. And be not entangled with the yoke of bondage of guilt. You have any idea how many people is being back entangled with the yoke of bondage while they try to do things and hold on to things that really don't even matter? They don't have no impact on the life. They're only exemplifying of external righteousness, which really ain't righteousness, but it's external righteousness before the eyes of men, to gain some type of unwarranted righteousness. But there ain't no priesthood, there ain't no temple, and there ain't no altar. And so to have your mind focused in these particular areas, you know what? And especially when the Most High, not only the Most High, but even the Messiah himself, because he spoke the same thing, he said, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. What good is it for you to try and keep somebody's physical Passover? Physical Passover. When the lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world have already been slain and given its life, what good is it for you to be stuck on sacrifice when he said, I desire obedience? Okay, now if you're going to do things in remembrance of the Messiah, you can't do these things on one day. Many of our Christian brothers, they're familiar with these things. They have communion once a month. You see? The bread and the wine. And you do this in remembrance of, but the Messiah said, listen, I'd rather desire that you be obedient to the things I'm instructing you to than for you to be trying to offer me this sacrifice and then put my name on it and say, I'm the reason why you're doing it. After you drink the bread and after you eat the bread and drink the wine, then you still go and fornicate. You see, that ain't benefiting nobody. It don't have no direct impact on people's life. But see, when you can come out there and have the love that you're supposed to have for your brothers and sisters, and then you caring for the creation the same way that the Most High declared that it should be done, now we're talking about something different. You see? So I was just thinking about it, and I said, you know what? Books are one thing. You see? Books are one thing, but you know, if the books ain't helping you to exemplify the Father's righteousness in your life, then something is terribly wrong. So that's how that go. Yeah, and so I just wanted to encourage the brother. Even many of our brothers and sisters that are in church right now. Okay, right now, based on these things that's going on, these things that's transpiring, you ain't got no church to go to. Sometimes you have to look a little deeper. It ain't always about the things that's going on in the world. Sometimes the Most High allow things to go on in the world, even if they done by the hands of men, to bring his people to a certain place. And one of the things I believe that's happening right now, like with the churches, is that I said it before and I say it again, that I feel like the preachers and the pastors have made people lazy and have done people a great injustice by making people think that the only way that they can hear from the Most High is that they got to be hearing from the pastor or from the preacher, which is complete foolishness, because he himself is a sinful mortal man and he has his life steeped in unrighteousness, just like all of the rest of us striving. So I believe that the Most High, in the midst of these things transpiring, that he have caused the church to not be, outcasted. I mean, it ain't standing alone. It's right in there with everything else. So it got to shut down with everything else. And now the people that are accustomed to going to church, you see, they can't go to church now. And I believe what it is that the Most High is desiring to call every man into a personal accountability with him. And so anybody, if you're a Christian brother or sister and you going to church and you don't know nothing about the scripture, you don't know nothing about what the Most High is requiring of you, you don't know nothing about that. Only thing you know is you go to church and then you hear a fancy sermon or something of that nature, and then you know what, you come out and you think that you to serve the Most High, you sadly mistaken. Because sooner or later the Most High gonna require your life and you're gonna have to give an account based on whether or not you develop the personal relationship that he desired to have with you, so that he could show you what his will was for your life. Because can't no man show no other man the will. Many of our Hebrew brothers and sisters in the Israelite community, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You know what? We go to these Sabbath classes and we hook ourselves up with these organizations and we put all of this stock into men. And we fail to understand, hey, when the Most High, when your life is required, It's appointed to every man once to die, and then after that, God gonna bring him into judgment. What is he gonna be judged for? He gonna be judged for how did he use his life once he came into the knowledge of the truth that he was the Most High's child, or that you was connected to the Father, or connected to his righteousness. How did you deal with those things after that point? And did you simply just sit up under men, and everything that you ever learned is something that came from a man's thought process, which now became your thought process? And when somebody asks you a question, you don't have nothing to say. What you do say is really not your thought, but it's a thought that somebody else have put in your mind. And so now you respond based on what you heard somebody else say, never having the true thought of your own. That stuff right there, it ain't gonna fly. It ain't gonna fly. So to the brothers and sisters that are in the church, I don't knock nobody for what they do. And I don't knock nobody for how they seek to serve the God that they come to believe in. But I do believe this. I do believe that there is a personal accountability that every man, the same way our children have a personal accountability to us as parents, we will have a personal accountability to the one that created us as far as how we're going to walk in this world, because those are important things. We teach our children, hey, when you leave this house, you know you represent me. Don't let me catch you out there. Don't let me hear about no foolishness. Boy, if you out there tripping, you better not be in school tripping. I'm going to come up there and I'm going to embarrass you before all of your friends. Well, the Most High is the epitome of what we walk by. And so, you know, I think that during this time right now, our brothers and sisters, while they can't go to church, they don't get to hear that freeze-dried, vacuum-packed sermon that it take a man a week to sit down and try to write out. But you know what? If the Most High really seeing something, you got something to say every single day. Every single day that you wake up, because every day is new. The Most High's mercy is new. His bread of provision is new every day. Give us this day our daily bread. Every day the Most High wake a man up. He give him provisions. He give him something that will become a benefit, something that can feed all of the people around. It become a benefit. Every day the Most High give you something. You see? And you know what? If push came to shove, I probably can come on here and teach something out of God's word every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And we got our brothers and sisters that sit back and they wait. They go 6 days without eating anything. 6 days without eating anything. That's why we used to be so excited when we came out of church. Well, quite naturally, if you know, I remember when we was kids and we was poor. And our people would be out partying, you know. We was kind of kids, you know what? But it was a different time. We might be left alone for 3 or 4 days to fend for ourselves. Ain't no food at home. You know what I mean? Everybody out drinking and partying and all that. We had to fend for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I remember me and my sister, me and my younger sister, and my big sister is 5 years older than me, 15. I was 10. My other sister was 12. Please, man. I mean, yeah, my other sister was 12. Hey, we ain't had no food. My big sister got an easy bake oven for Christmas. And that became a source of our food, man. She make them little cakes on the easy bake oven and make sure that her little brother and her little sister have something to eat. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying to say that when you don't eat right, your body ain't strong. How can you survive? Man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Most High. Okay, if you go 6 days without eating, man, when you do see a piece of bread, man, you about to tear something up. This is the condition of many of our brothers and sisters that are in church, that are up under the umbrella of Christianity. They go 6 days without eating anything. And then by the time they do hear a word, oh, man, their spirit is so hungry for it. They so hungry for it. No wonder why they dancing down the aisles and crying and falling out in the floor. It's not because of praising the Most High. It's because that bread of the word and that sustenance to the spirit man is so, you know, you done been without it for so long that when you see the first breadcrumb of the Most High's righteousness, you just throw a fit. You see? But that only lasts you so long. Because soon as Sunday's over, it's back to Monday. And you ain't eating nothing on Monday. So every day that you go by not eating, your spirit man growing weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And by the time you get to Sunday morning service, you so beat down from the word because you're malnutritious. You're not nourished properly. And you're so beat down that when that preacher come on there or somebody come on there and sing one song, the tears immediately start jumping out of your eyes. That's because you're malnourished. It's not because you just have that much zeal to the Most High, but you're malnourished. You're not nourished proper. This is the condition of many of our brothers that are in the church or the construct of Christianity, and you try to attach that to the Most High. But see, you know what? Everybody have access to a Bible theirself, and the Spirit is not bound by time and space. The Spirit can reach every man and every woman on the planet. The problem is that the Messiah set up a certain way for that to happen. He said, blessed are those who do hunger and thirst after righteousness. They are the ones that shall be filled. And so if you're not looking for the righteousness throughout the course of the week, and you're just waiting on the preacher, and you think that the righteousness is going to come from him, man, please. You repeat the same process all your life over and over again. You 6 days starving, and then you go to church on the last day. You go to church on the first day, and then you hear the first sprinkle of that message, and you all in the floor, weeping and wailing and everything, because the world done kicked your face in for 6 days because you starving to death, and spiritually your ribs are showing. That's why I be telling people, man, we don't care what people look like. There's brothers out here trying to intimidate you because of what they look like. Man, you can be as buffed as you want to be on the outside, but be as weak as a sissy on the inside, and they ain't even got to throw one physical punch to zap all the life out of you. We can speak one righteous word and knock you to your knees, bring you to shame before the whole world, because bodily exercise profit little, but godliness is of great profit. So I believe that sometimes the Most High allow these things right here to happen. You can't go to church now. The Most High trying to show you that you're in the wrong place, because I'm the one that gives the bread. I'm the one that gave the pastor the bread, and I ain't gave him nothing that I won't make available to you if you develop a hunger and a thirst after righteousness. And when brothers and sisters feel like, oh, hell is break loose and it's hard and I'm wore out over here and I can tell you why you wore out, because you ain't went to the Most High and asked him, give you this day your daily bread. Give me the daily provision that I need. Give me the word that I need to sustain me. Give me build my spirit up for today to prepare me for anything that I might face, for any unseen evil, any unseen thing that might come to shake my house up. Give me the daily bread that I need to be able to deal with my children, to be able to give wise counsel to my brothers or my sister. Give me this day my daily bread. See, when you start asking the Most High for things like that, then you redirect your focus, and your focus is off men, because men can't give you no daily bread. And even though you ain't going to church, these brothers done went out, they done set up YouTube pages, they done set up Facebook pages, they done set up Cash Apps and PayPals and all these different money things, because they still want your money. But what kind of fool would ask another person that he's supposed to be assuming responsibility for his money when they themselves ain't got a job to go to? Don't you think it's something terribly wrong with that? So the Most High allowed things like that to happen, because he said, if your heart gonna be a gift to me, it's got to be a lonely heart. It's got to be a broken heart. And every now and then I'll pull you away from all that nonsense just so I can draw you close to me and show you something many of us don't even want to see. But you think that because people see you in a suit, in a Harold Pinner's shiny suit, or you think because many people see you with a big church hat on, that exemplifies some type of righteousness. You think because people see you wearing fringes and Mitri hats, and then you think people see you wearing head wraps, that exemplifies the Father's righteousness. Well, I'm telling you now, you better get out of here with that mess, because that's not what the Father is all about. Give us this day our daily bread. You see, I don't know if any of you on this line know what it's like to come up poor, what it's like to wake up as a kid and not have no food in the icebox. What it's like to wake up and open up the icebox and the only thing in there, memories, never forget them. Only thing in there is one onion and a jar of mustard. But as a kid, you're thankful for the onion and the jar of mustard. I remember peeling the onion, one little peel at a time, dipping it in the mustard. It became food for me. But when you're poor, you're malnourished. You see, these are areas that the school, even though the school system didn't have no direct impact on my life as it related to books and education and things that I learned, it did have a direct impact on my life because it was the one place I knew that I can go and get breakfast and then get lunch. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, your daily bread is important. Your daily bread is important, but man shall not live by bread alone. Man shall live by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. And if God's mercy is new every day, ain't nobody can hold me a captive to anything that I did yesterday, any sin that I committed yesterday, anything that I failed at yesterday. So when you wake up beat down and broken down and all of that, and people looking at your shame hanging out, every time you wake up, you thank the Father. This is the day that the Most High have made. I shall rejoice and I shall be glad in it. Why? Because my sins are forgiven, because his mercy is made new every day. Every time he makes a day and then wakes me up and puts me in the day. He said, boy, I just showed you mercy. My mercy is new every day. Forget about what happened yesterday. Forget about what they said about you. You can't be held as a captive for nothing that you done yesterday. Now, if they want to try to drag your yesterday into your today, you just chop them off at the knees and keep it moving. He said, because the same way that they try to do that to you, I'm going to do that to them. Yeah. So I just, I wanted to tell them that you brothers and sisters that spend all of your time on YouTube trying to listen to this class, that class, then jump on Facebook like you really been connected to the Father, like you to study something when you know you ain't. You ain't consecrated no time. Blessed is the man that walk not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinner, nor sit in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord. Why? Because the law of the Lord is the bread that man shall not, that is the bread that God said, man ain't gonna live by bread alone, but by the word that proceed out of my mouth. His delight is in the law of the Lord, because he know when he have delight in the law of the Lord, he know he operating according to the scripture. Say the Lord's table is spread out and the feast of the Lord is going on. Look, the man that got delight in the Most High's law, he's sitting at the table of the Lord. He's sitting at the table of the Lord, and the feast of the Lord is going on. He's going to get what he need. He's going to get what he need. So, so you better get out there and you better get it. He delights in God's law. And in his law, does he meditate? What do I need a man for? And the Most High said, all you got to do is just think about my word and I'm going to bless you. He meditates on it day and night. No matter what comes his way, he thinking about the word. Oh, ain't no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I'm fearfully and marvelously made, created in the image of God. I know the thoughts that I have toward you, thoughts to prosper you and that you would be in good health. That's the Most High. That's the Most High when you're thinking about his word. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy come in the morning. The Most High has riches in this world stored up for the righteous people in his kingdom. See, that's the man that meditates on his word day and night. To meditate on something means to think about it continuously. To think about it. What do I need a man for? What man can keep God's word on my mind? What man can do that? See, once people leave church, they can't even tell you what the preacher preached about. They got so happy the first time they seen one breadcrumb that they didn't never even get the nourishment that they were. You ain't gonna get the nourishment in one day that you'd have missed 6 days of eating. So I ain't trying to encourage the brothers and sisters Our Christian brothers and sisters, that you start assuming a responsibility for yourself as it relates to the righteousness of the Most High. Because one day the church is going to close, never to open back up again. There are many churches that ain't even going to be able to survive through this little time. Their doors ain't going to open back up no more, no way. There are many places that have to shut down. And if they have to stay shut down for over a month without getting people's money, they can't even open the doors back up because they still got to pay the mortgage, they still got to pay the lights, they still got to pay the gas, they still got to pay the water, and even if don't nothing get cut off, since it's a commercial property, whenever this thing is lifted, them people want their money, and if the churches don't have the money to pay it, look at the mega churches with $25,000 a month mortgage payments. How long you think them people can go? There are many places that shut down, ain't gonna open up. And what if you a part of a church that's going to close down but ain't going to open up? The Most High done giving you this sprinkle of time to sit at his feet and to meditate on his word and to learn how to feed yourself through the scriptures. Learn how to develop a hunger and a thirst after his righteousness. Now, what if your church is the church that don't never close back up? 9 out of 10 times, the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to get on the phone and start asking their cousins or their neighbors or their friends or anybody else that was going there. So what church you going to now? So what church you going to now? How is it over there? How is it over there? Well, I'll tell you how it is over there. It's the same way as it was over there. You're going to go over there and you're going to end up right back where you was, ribs showing, face sunk in, can't barely walk, ain't got no strength to do nothing because you ain't getting the nourishment that you need. Ain't nobody doing that. The Most High said you got to have bread, you got to have the word of God on a daily basis. That is why when we do these videos, we try to come on here and do a video every single day. Every single day that the Most High wake a brother up and put him into this life, I pray that he give me something to say that will help somebody for this day, because you can't survive without the Father's word. Can't survive without it. You can't survive without it. And on those times that it seemed like the Spirit withdraw from me, and I go a few days without having nothing to talk about, nothing to preach about, nothing to commune about with the brothers and sisters, it's like I feel that weakness. I feel that weakness. Because during that time, I be like, you know what? If he don't give it to me, I don't have no desire for it. You see? And so I ain't reading the Bible, and I just feel myself growing weak and growing weak and growing weak. And that's why some videos are more what people might call powerful than other ones. Because, boy, when you done starve and you hungry and you know you ain't ate nothing, and then the Most High finally come through with that bread, oh, man, that excitement is going through the roof. Yo, he ain't left me after all. He's still with me. I thought he was gone. I done dried up. Me and my wife arguing. I'm fussing everybody, snapping on everybody. I'm being affected by the bills coming in and everything else because I ain't hearing nothing from the Most High. But when he come with that sprinkle of bread, the gratitude goes through the roof. It goes through the roof, and then we come out and we do a video, and that mug might really raise somebody up. And then not only that, it's like, dang, they won't stop. They won't stop. I'm eating good in the mug. Here, I done pumped out 4 videos for an hour and a half apiece, each one of them, and all of them is based on the promises and the goodness of the Most High. Give us this day our daily bread. See, we got to realign our focus. When you start talking about this is a day that the Most High have made, you go back to the beginning where the Most High said, and God created the heavens and the earth. And God put the sun that we can see right now in the sky that sustains the life, even though he hadn't created the life yet. He put everything in place that would sustain the thing that he was going to create. And then he put the moon and the stars up there because he knew when he make this physical body, it would be 1 part spirit and then it would be 1 part flesh. And the flesh would need to lay down and rest. So he created the night, and then he came back and he said, and this is the evening and the morning of the first day. And from the first day came everything. Every time he's putting new things in there, new things in there. Let the air come forth. Let's separate the waters from beneath. And this is the second day. And on the third day, God gave the moon and all of these different things for signs and seasons. And this was the third day. And on the fourth day, he separated separated the firmament, and separated the waters. And on the fifth day, he brought forth the oceans and separated the waters from the earth. On each day that he created, he put things in that particular day. And on the fifth day, when he created the oceans and put the oceans and separated, he brought forth everything. Let the oceans now bring forth life. You see, it was the sun that was going to sustain life. It was the moon and stars that was going to sustain it. It was the air that we was going to breathe that was going to sustain it. It was the waters that was going to sustain it. But each day that he made, he put something in that day. And on the sixth day, he fashioned that day, and then he put the beast in there. Then he said, let us make man in our own image. Let us put man in this day. This is a day that the Most High have made. And every time we wake up, we open our eyes up and we are conscious. Every time we open our eyes up and we're conscious, it is the Most High redoing every single day what he did in the very beginning. Because in order for anything to come forth, in order for the sun to come forth, in order for the moon to come forth, in order for the stars to come forth, in order for it to still be fish in the ocean, he had to bring forth a new day. And he said, my mercies are new every single day. No matter how wicked this world is, my mercies are new every single day. And every day it's like the beginning all over again. Give us this day our daily bread. You see? And too many people get too technical because they want to show themselves as deep or knowing something outside of themselves. Well, baby, if you want to impress me, tell me what kind of effect you can have on the air that you're breathing. Show me how you can affect the sun that's shining in the sky. You want to explain something deep to me? Go and explain how the grass grows, how it exemplifies everlasting life. It has been here from the first day that God created anything when he created the earth. You want to be deep with me? You want to impress me with something? Show me, make me understand the bowels of the earth. The same way the bowels of the earth are hidden, just like the bowels in our body are hidden. You want to impress me with something deep? Show me what God did when he pulled man and made him out of a piece, out of a ball of dirt. You show me how anything good can come out of a man that was created from the worst and the lowest thing in this world, which was dust. Whatever you do is no good. Wherever you take it, it dirties it up. If you put it in your pocket, it's dirty. If you take it, try to wash it, it dirties the water. Wherever you put the dirt, it dirties up everything. We got too many people that want to be deep. You want to be deep? I'll take you to deep. Let's go and see who can scour out the depths of the oceans, the depths of the earth that the Most High have created. Who can explore the height of the heavens? You show me a person. Since you want to be deep, come and be deep with that. Come and be deep with that. Tell me how you can breathe the air in and breathe the air out. Tell me how the tree that's put on the earth can breathe in poison, which is carbon monoxide, and then turn that poison into life-giving oxygen. You want to explain something? You want to be deep? Let's move away from the books then. Let's get away from the books then. You tell me some of these things. Tell me how your heart can pump the blood through your veins. Tell me how that. Tell me how your life. Tell me how you can go to sleep and lose total consciousness, and your spirit man can leave your body and travel into the cosmos and experience all the things that the Most High have created, and then at a moment's notice, he can be reconnected back to the flesh. You want to be deep? You want to be deep? You want to be deep? Come on and be deep with that. Come on, preacher. Come on, pastor. Come on, bishop. Come on, Moray. Come on and explain these wonderful things that the Most High have done. Come on and explain that. Come on and explain that. Because these things didn't come by way of no man's teacher. Neither didn't come by way of no book neither. They come by way of being able to open up your eyes and look at the things that God have created. You tell me. I wasn't even trying to go there. Give us this day our daily bread. To our brothers and sisters that are in church, ain't nothing wrong with going to church. I don't care what the Israelite knuckleheads say. They always want to be looking at what somebody else is doing. I just tell you like this. Don't worry about the mule going blind. Keep your own ass in line. Because at the end of the day, all of our asses is hanging out. All of us are raggedy. You always want to try to look at what the Christian brother is doing versus what you doing when ain't none of us know better. We got brothers sitting up under men that's leading them into a greater pit just because they say that they Israelites. You knowing who you are don't exemplify God's righteousness. It's you walking according to what the Most High commanded you that exemplifies his righteousness. So to them Christian brothers and to the Israelite brothers whose gatherings have been shut down. See, ain't no boundaries. Okay, just same way the churches are shut down. The Israelite brothers, they stuff shut down too. They want to have Passover. They want to do these things. They want to have Sabbath class. They want to do the same thing that the church want to do. God saying, get out of here with that nonsense. I'm about to shut it all down. I'm about to shut it all down because I ain't going to keep on letting my people come up under the umbrella of you people that's out here deceiving them and stopping them from having a personal relationship with me. I'll close the Hebrew gathering down and I'll close the church house down and I'll leave them people that was dependent on you. I'll leave them to their self and they'll come on there and see a video like this and then have their attention redirected. And hopefully when the veil of this thing is lifted, the Most High will be to reach the people some kind of way and they will come to an understanding. Yeah, I can go in fellowship, but that's for my own benefit. But I don't need you because God ain't going to tell you anything. You know, look, our church brothers, I know you heard this before. Oh, God told me to tell you something. Man, miss me with that crap. Because God ain't going to tell you nothing from my life that he don't tell me first. Now, he might let you see something good in me, but don't come telling me what God said. Because if God said and told you something about my life, why wouldn't he tell me? Okay, what did he tell you about your life? So you come tell me what God said about my life. Guess what? I'm going to tell you what God said about your life. Trust no man, for put your trust in no man, for he will surely let you down. He don't have the capacity to add 1 inch to his stature. He don't have the capacity to cause anything to grow out of the ground. He don't have the capacity to give 1 breath of oxygen. He don't have the capacity to give your mind consciousness or anything else. So don't come telling me about what God said. Whatever God gonna say, he should say it to you and you should start living by it. But don't try to loophole me into thinking that the only way that I can get to God is that I got to go through you. You're a liar from the pits of hell. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 1. God, who at sundry time in times past in different ways spoke to the prophets, spoke to Moses, spoke to Jeremiah, spoke to Ezekiel, spoke to Nahum, spoke to Daniel. He said, but in these last days, he ain't speaking to no prophets. He ain't speaking to no prophets. He ain't speaking to the fathers using men. He is speaking to us by his son who had been appointed heir over all things. And the son came along and said, it is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, then the comforter won't come. But when he come, he shall lead you. He shall guide you. He shall teach you. He shall lead you into ways of truth. He shall not speak of himself. He shall only speak that which he heard of me, of my Father, and he shall lead you in ways of the truth, and he shall show you things to come. The things to come are dealing with the things that are concerning God's will for the individual's life. That if God don't show that individual the things to come, then he will never understand what purpose God has set for him in this world. But that's the job of the Spirit. 1 John 2nd chapter 25 through 27. This is the promise that he had promised us, even eternal life. But I am writing this letter to you concerning them which will seduce you. Who are the seducers? The preachers, the prophets, the bishops, the Moraines, the apostles. They are the deceivers, because God ain't speaking through men in that way no more. He said, I'm writing this letter concerning them that will seduce you, that you need not any man teach you anything. For that Spirit that I sent into the world, that I promised you was coming from my Father, will now reside in you, and he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance. So only thing that matters, Who you going to put your trust in? You're either going to put your trust in God or you're going to put your trust in man. That's what that is. That's what that is. You're going to put your trust, but why put your trust in somebody that don't have the strength to fix their own problems? I'll pray.